The property was a contemporary, luxurious residence with high ceilings, sleek glass windows, and a massive backyard that seemed to go on forever. I had worked for years, pushing, sacrificing, going above and beyond to afford this. It was more than just a house. It was my prize, an emblem of everything I had accomplished. Sophia and I had discussed this moment for years, entering our own space, establishing a future, enjoying the privacy that came with home ownership. This was meant to be our new beginning. But she surprised me. The day before the housewarming, she dropped a bombshell. "My sister Claire and my parents are moving in with us," she said, arms crossed, voice steady. My stomach twisted. At first, I thought I misheard her. I searched her face, hoping for a hint of a joke, but the words hung in the air like smoke, choking me. "You didn't even ask me?" I said. She rolled her eyes and scoffed. "Your opinion is irrelevant." Something inside me snapped, not just at her words, but at the way she said them, cold, dismissive, like I was a guest in my own home. I had always known Sophia had a dominant personality. She liked things done her way. But this wasn't just about a decision. This was about how she saw me. I exhaled, steadying my voice. "So, you didn't even consider consulting me before making this choice?" She groaned, annoyed. "What's the big deal? We have plenty of space. My family needs a place to stay." I clenched my jaw. "Sophia, that's not the point. This place was meant to be ours, not a free-for-all for your family." She folded her arms. "So what? You don't want to help them?" I almost laughed at the absurdity. Her father, Richard, had spent years questioning what they had ever done for us. Her mother, Evelyn, never hid her disdain, treating me like a second-class citizen. She thought Sophia was a leech when she married me. And Claire, a 35-year-old divorcee who had never held a real job, bouncing from one failed relationship to another, always looking for the next place to crash. And now, they were all moving in. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. "No, Sophia, this isn't happening." A sneer curled on her lips. "They're coming tomorrow," she said, smug, like she already knew how I would react. My heart pounded in my ears. She had made all the plans, without me. That's when it hit me. I had never been in control. Sophia believed she could walk all over me, make decisions without consulting me, act as if I didn't matter. She was mistaken. I wasn't going to argue. I was going to remind her exactly who she was dealing with. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Beside me, Sophia whispered into her phone, excitement in her voice. "Yes, Mom. Everything is ready. You don't have to worry about a thing. The guest rooms are set up. It's a beautiful home." My chest tightened. My dream home. She was already discussing room arrangements, making sure her father's recliner was set up in my living room, my space, my sanctuary. I clenched my jaw. She had made all these decisions like I was just an afterthought. Tried to ignore it, but my mind wouldn't stop racing. Sophia woke up the next morning acting as if nothing had happened. She stretched, smiling. "Good morning," she chirped. "I need to run out and grab a few things before my family arrives." I sat up slowly. "No, I have things to do." She shrugged, kissed my cheek, and left without even asking what I had planned. That was fine, because I had already decided. I picked up my phone and called my attorney. "I need something done today," I said. "What kind of thing?" he asked. I exhaled. "I want the house moved out of her reach, today." A pause. "Are you sure about this?" I let out a bitter laugh. More sure than I've ever been. He was quiet for a moment, then nodded. "I just need your signature. I'll draft the paperwork right away." "Good. I'll be there in an hour." I made another call. "A high-end real estate," agent answered. "I need my house staged," I said. "Are you thinking about selling?" she asked, confused. "I don't just think I'm selling," I replied, voice calm. "I am selling." Another pause. "We can make it happen," she said. But, are you sure? I'm sure. For the first time since Sophia's bombshell, I felt at peace. Everything was already in motion when she got home. She strolled in, bags in hand, smiling. "I got new linens for Mom and Dad's room," she announced. "Claire, I got you a new set of towels. Really nice ones." I nodded, watching her. She put the bags down, frowning. "You're really quiet." I smiled. "Oh, I was just thinking. I know you'll change your mind once they move in." She had no idea. The next morning, I got up early. My lawyer had everything prepared. "Once you sign this, she has no claim to the property," he said. I grabbed the pen and signed my name. It was done. One last call. The real estate agent answered. "Your house will be ready for the market by this evening," she said. "Would you like us to put up a for sale sign?" I grinned. "Make it big." That evening, I stood in the kitchen as Sophia pulled into the driveway. Her car slowed. I watched her face shift, from confusion to disbelief. She got out, eyes locked on the massive for sale sign planted in the front yard. Her jaw dropped. Stepped onto the porch, hands in my pockets, watching her process it. She whirled toward me, face twisted in shock. "This is a joke, right?" I shrugged. "I assumed my opinion was irrelevant. So, I made a decision without you." Panic flickered across her face. "Where are we supposed to live?" she whispered. I tilted my head. "That's your problem, not mine. Just—" Then another car pulled into the driveway, her parents and Claire, bags in tow. Her father stepped out first, looking around, bewildered. Claire frowned at the sign. Sophia turned back to me, desperate. "Are we not moving in?" I met her eyes, voice steady. "No, Sophia, you're not." Her face twisted with rage. "You're going to regret this." I exhaled, feeling lighter than I had in years. "No, Sophia," I said. "For once, I won't." Walking on eggshells and no longer pretending to be the submissive husband as she controlled every part of my life, this was my reality. Sophia had always been skilled at twisting circumstances to her advantage, but this time, she wasn't going. To do that, I went into the bedroom and took out my suitcase. Even though she hadn't, I had been ready for this moment. I began collecting my belongings in a methodical manner, with the intention of selling the house and leaving entirely. I didn't hurry. I took my time moving my clothes, paperwork, and essentials. Sophia had pushed me into a corner for too long, and there was no reason to stay. She misjudged me. The bedroom door banged open behind me as I zipped my luggage closed. Her voice was brittle and piercing, full of incredulity. I didn't think to look back. She rushed inside, her footsteps banging against the floor. "You're fleeing from our house like that?" I finally glanced at her. Her hands were clenched into fists, her face pallid, yet her eyes were desperate. "It's not our house anymore," I remarked. "You calmly stated that my viewpoint was irrelevant, so I made sure yours wouldn't be either." She shook her head. "You're making a mistake. You're ruining everything over a dumb fight." I cocked my head, letting her words linger in the air. It was ridiculous. She had treated me like an afterthought, disrespected me, and now she dared to say that I was exaggerating. I lowered my voice and moved closer. "You didn't just bring your family here, Sophia. You tried to remove me from this house." She swallowed forcefully but maintained eye contact. "I only wanted to help them," I sneered. "No, you wanted to dictate to me, to make choices without my input, knowing that I'd have to comply. But guess what, Sophia?" Her gaze flitted to my luggage. When she spoke again, her voice was quieter. "Where are you going?" I shrugged. "I got a penthouse downtown." She breathed in sharply. "You had already planned this." "Of course I did," I said. "But I don't make decisions that change people's lives on a whim, like you." For the first time, she displayed panic. "So that's why you're abandoning me?" I looked at her closely, realizing that the woman in front of me wasn't the one I had fallen in love with. The person who once cared for me and respected me had long since vanished. replaced by someone self-centered and cunning. I don't believe you ever thought you could walk all over me without consequences. Sophia bit her lip. You're just discarding everything because... I stopped laughing. No, I'm leaving something that was already broken. She stood there in silence, her eyes darting back and forth, searching for a solution, a way to halt this. I don't believe you, she murmured. You're doing this to scare me. You want me to beg you. There's nothing left to fix. Her voice wavered. Do I look like I'm bluffing? She swallowed but didn't respond. So I picked up my bag and walked past her without another glance. Eventually I stopped at the doorway as she yelled after me. You should start packing too. I left that evening and got comfortable in my sleek penthouse with a view of the city skyline. No freeloaders, no manipulation, no ongoing struggles for dominance. Just peace. I poured myself a drink of whiskey and stepped out onto the balcony. For the first time in a long time, I felt the cool night breeze on my skin. I didn't even need to check my phone to know it. Sophia would text me, and she did. Sophia, you're making a mistake. We need to discuss this. I sipped my drink and enjoyed the quiet. A few seconds later, another message. Sophia, I was only trying to act in your best interest. I didn't mean to hurt you. Let's work this out. My family... I'm sorry. She wasn't sorry. She was just scared. Scared of losing her security, her comfort, her control. I deleted the messages. Then, as if the universe wanted to thank me for finally taking back my life, another message appeared. Luxury real estate agent. Several. Buyers have expressed interest. We should have a definite offer by next week. I grinned. Sophia had spent years treating me like an afterthought, expecting I would always be there, always submit to her wishes. Now she was about to find out what life was like without me. When I woke up the next morning, I felt clarity. No stress, no forced compromises, no waking up in a house that never felt like home. This penthouse, it was mine. Even if it wasn't fully furnished yet, it instantly felt more like home than the place. I had left behind no unwanted visitors, no intrusive in-laws, no Sophia. I drank my coffee and watched the city come to life through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Cars sped through the streets below, people hurried along the sidewalks, and for the first time in years, I was doing the same, moving forward. My phone buzzed. I already knew whose name would appear. Sophia. I need to see you. Just 5 minutes. I let out a slow breath. 5 minutes. What could she possibly say that would change anything? But I still felt there was unfinished business. Not regret, just closure. Me, 10 a.m. Penthouse lobby. By the time she arrived, I was already enjoying another cup of coffee in the private lounge of my building. When she walked in, she looked the same. Polished, expensive, carefully put together, but her eyes had changed. They looked anxious. She saw me, hesitated, then straightened her back and approached. Her heels clicked against the marble floor. I leaned back in my chair. You've got 5 minutes, she sighed as she sat across from me. You really hate me now? I took another sip of coffee before answering. I don't hate you, Sophia. I just finally see you for who you are. She winced. I never meant for things to get this bad. You did everything intentionally, I said. You knew exactly what you were doing. You just thought I would never leave. Tears welled in her eyes. So you're really done with me? Yes, she broke down, the realization hitting her. For the first time, she truly understood that she had lost me. I stood and took a deep breath. You bet on the idea that I would always let you win. I slid an envelope across the table. You lost. She looked at it, confused. What is this? Divorce papers. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. She gave me one last desperate glance. You need to sign them. She swallowed hard, her lips parting as if she wanted to say something, but I was already walking away. "Wait," she called. "Do you think we could ever—" Before she could finish, I turned back briefly. "Do you think I would ever know?" And then I left. I stepped into the fresh air, feeling the weight of the past finally lift from my shoulders. No more power struggles. No more waking up in a life where I felt like a stranger. Sophia was just a chapter in my story. As I melted into the city crowd, my phone buzzed again. For a moment, I thought it was another message from her. But no, luxury real estate agent. We have 2 strong offers. I grinned. Her kingdom? Her prison? It was gone, and for the first time in years, I was free.